Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, I want to do a little bit of an update video. This is something that has been in my head for a little while since we saw the since we saw the Old Man Logan blog last week, and there's been some people who have been discussing in my Discord about, the unlock requirements for the event, but it's actually, with the yes, Cabal and Out of Time and the star levels required is going to be a pain in the ass, and it's going to suck for those who want a little bit more on Old Man Logan. But I actually think it's there's a good possibility, just like other Scourges and Trials events in the past, that it might not be those specialty lanes that are actually the hard part. It could very well be the other ones as well. So in this video, I want to talk about those other sections and what characters are required or should be used, and whether or not you'll actually need them. There's a few really big characters in those sections that I'm wondering if the nodes are going to be required to use them. And unfortunately, because we don't know in advance the enemies on the nodes until pretty much a few days before, we might see it in the data mines and the JSON files a few days before, but we won't get a really big heads up. So this is a big question mark over the event still, and actually I hope that maybe that they might give us some, foresight a little bit in terms of what's usable and what's not. But anyways, if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. So we kind of need to pivot back to this crazy blog post from last week. I believe it was last Thursday, I think. So I reported on this, but I didn't really do any Friday blog because I was too busy traveling to Norway, which is actually where I'm actually not in Norway anymore. Now I'm in Denmark, in Copenhagen. So hey, if anyone's in Copenhagen and wants to say hi, feel free to send me a message. So I'm gonna skip through most of this because I want to get to where they talk about the event stuff again and the trials, and I kind of want to make clear. I don't think some people were a bit confused over what exactly is happening. So basically, free to play, the maximum you're gonna get is 4 yellow, 2 red. I'm pretty sure it's 2 red. I think they mentioned it somewhere down below. And then when you pay and you do the other difficulties, you're gonna get a maximum of 5 yellow. So once you get to that 5 yellow, there is no grinding up. At least right now, or the first pass, there's no grinding up. So when the event comes back around, there's no way to get a 6 and 7 yellow unless you do well on the leaderboard. And we don't really know. We don't really know how many players are going to get the 6 and 7. Could be top 1,000. But you're not going to get more than a 5 yellow, even if you have the yellow stars on the other characters, because you're getting upgrade tokens. You're not getting shards. You're just getting You're getting a straight up 4 yellow Old Man Logan token, a 5 yellow token, etc. So the 6 and the 7 yellow tokens come from the leaderboard only. And it's mentioned here in the first run leaderboard. The first run of Old Man Logan's Trials features a leaderboard, and you'll only need a run score of 100k. However, most of that doesn't matter, because realistically, the only thing that matters is how you get the top rewards of the 6 and 7 yellow. That's the only thing that matters for the leaderboard. There might be minor gear and other crap that's in the it says Old Man Logan's red stars 3 to 7 are going to be in there, crimson teal gear. But realistically, it's only going to be for the top people who get these things. And so you'll be able to get up to 2 red otherwise. And that makes me really wonder, right? Is a 4-star Old Man Logan with 2 red, is that viable? How good is that going to be? Do we care about that? And that's pretty much all I'm probably going to get. Because I don't think in the next 3 weeks, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to get Starbrand and Iron Patriot and Leader to 5-star before the event. I don't think it's going to happen, and I would need all those characters to be there in order for that in order to have a chance to be able to score for a 5-star Old Man Logan. And so I want to bring up the chart as far as the events go, because I think oh yeah, by the way, you do need the yellow stars on Loki and Emma Frost as well for this event as well. So I want to bring up the chart because the chart is here. And I'm going to switch over to my full screen. I think it's this one here. And you can see here that, up to difficulties 8, there is, sorry, actually up to difficulties 10, but 8 is where you're going to get the 4-star. So after that, I guess, The only reason why you'd want to do D9 and D10 would be for milestone rewards. Maybe there's something decent in there. Maybe that's how you get the 2 red. I don't know. But in order to get the 4 yellow, it's just from D8. And you can see here Out of Time and Cabal, Emma Frost, and Loki. But if you're trying to do D11 and higher, you do need all of the characters at 5-star. Now, yes, I know Emma Frost and Loki are farmable, so hopefully this isn't a problem. If you have the others at 5-star, hopefully you have these 2 at 5. But nonetheless, they did say that in the Envoy server, they did say that the nodes are basically tuned to having Emma and Loki. So what does that mean? I don't know. Maybe that means that the nodes are tuned to having mind control, and there's going to be a bunch of mind control RNG or some reason, something that they can do that makes it a lot easier. Emma Frost can cleanse, I guess, for villains, I think, and some other things. But yeah, the one thing that I want to kind of hone in on in this video, though, is Cosmic Bio and Hero Skill. So these sections are, and villains... There's not a... I mean, it's better. I mean, because Cabal is also villains, right? So if you need to use them again, maybe with other villains, so that's something you could do, right? Because Cabal is all villains. So you could do 3 Cabal plus Super Skrull, right? And we'll talk about that because he's Cosmic Bio, but you can use 2 other really big villain characters alongside the Cabal. And with the extra packs, because I do want to kind of pivot really quickly to the bottom where they talk about the... so you're going to have Alliance War abilities and Cosmic Crucible abilities. So that's pretty crazy, depending on how many of these you decide to use. That's quite a lot. And most likely what that means, though, is going to be a double-edged sword. So if you activate these abilities, these packs, whatever they're calling them now, but they're also going to be available for the enemy characters, which there's going to be enemy characters that take advantage of one or both of these, because that's why it's designed there. It's a double-edged sword. And so I guess that makes it a little bit easier if you decide to use 3 Cabal characters in the villain section with... I don't know, maybe Dormammu, right? Dormammu would be a good one if you have him, because then you would have that revive mechanism as well, and Leader's actually a really good job at healing. There's quite a few good meta choices, like endgame meta villain choices that you could use, so I don't think that that's going to be super difficult. But I want to talk about these 2 sections here. So I have the listing here of Cosmic Bio. We'll start here. And it's not very good, right? Like you can eliminate the majority of these. It's, how many characters is that? That's 16, 22 characters, but realistically, okay, let's just go across the top here. Cosmo, okay, so you have Cosmo, Korg, and Nova. So this is kind of basically, if you don't have Super Skrull, you're kind of forced into using Nowhere. And you guys all know how I feel about Nowhere, because I never really built them. So the question is, do I then need to do that for this? Let's take a look at the other choices. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Garbo, all Garbo, until you get to maybe Photon, Phylavel. I mean, I don't really... Thing has been reworked, but it's still probably not great. And then we have Void Knight, right? So if you have Super Skrull, you're probably going to be using Super Skrull, Void Knight, and maybe Photon, Nova, and Cosmo. I don't know how much you... I know the Korg revives, but I just don't know... If you haven't built Nowhere, that's probably what I would do. You could use Phylavel, but I think she's still kind of weak. She hasn't been reworked in God knows how long, so her hit points is pretty low. So realistically, and then if you don't have Super Skrull, you're kind of forced into Void Knight, Nova, like the 3 Nowhere, and Photon, I guess. And so the common denominator here is Nowhere and Super Skrull. Even if you do have Super Skrull, it seems like you're kind of pushed into wanting to use Nowhere. The question is, are the nodes designed around having Super Skrull? Because that makes a big difference. And actually, if the nodes are designed around having Super Skrull, none of this really matters. The rest of it doesn't even matter, because you probably... Maybe you'll struggle really hard if you just use Nova, Core, Cosmo, Void Knight, and Photon, and maybe you might be able to struggle your way through. I don't know, right? It depends on how hard. Is there a Black Knight on the nodes? Because I'd be really fucking pissed off. I think that's my first swear, but I'd be really pissed off if they put a Black Knight on the node, and that. Obviously, that's a big FU to Super Skrull, but it's a big FU to everyone, because Black Knight, if they did, I hope they would do it the way that they did for Kiln, where he's a little bit nerfed. And I'm gonna feel really bad if players upgrade all their characters and prepare for the Old Man Logan trial, but to get themselves blocked at this Cosmic Bio section because they don't have Super Skrull. Even at the lower difficulties, like D8 for the unlock for Old Man Logan, And I want to make it very clear as well, in case this confuse people too. So Old Man Logan is actually 0 to 100. It suggests he's a 3-star unlock. And the reason for this is because I think they're going to sell orbs for Old Man Logan later, so that players can whale and unlock him through offers later, just like the orbs for the Scourge and Trial characters. I think that's what's going to happen for Old Man Logan. So he is not being unlocked free to play at 3-star. He's being unlocked free to play at 4-star. It's just that they're keeping him at a 3-star unlock, probably for future reasons for paying and whatnot to get him unlocked in a different manner than through his event. So I just wanted to clear up that confusion because some people did ask about that. And so I really, really hope that this is not what's going to happen, because it's going to be a huge slap in the face if by the time people get to the Old Man Logan trial and then they realize that they've upgraded, Nova and the Nowhere characters, and that they can't do it because they don't have Super Scroll. I guess we'll find out, right? But I really hope that's not the case, because that is something that concerns me. The rest of the characters are garbage. It's an illusion of choice. Realistically, you're not going to be using Black Bolt and fucking Crystal for this. There's like maybe 5 out of a selection of 7 characters at best that you could probably use for this. Now, moving on to hero skill. This is quite interesting too. It's a little bit broader, right? But it's obvious that they're kind of pushing you towards a select few characters as well. So you can see right off the bat, obviously, who is hero skill? Well, Spider Society, right? But you don't get raid buffs in this event. However, they're still probably quite viable, because I think that their synergy combined is going to be good enough that you will be able to get through the event. So you do have this selection of characters. You have Spider Society, and you have Black Knight, which is really great, I guess, as well. But he's also out of time. So whether or not you want to use him in the hero skill section, really depends on how healthy are you going through node number 2, and then you're going to have to use him again over here on node number 10. So that makes a pretty big difference too. So I probably won't use Black Knight unless it's because there's no synergy there. Yeah, he's really, really strong, but there's no synergy. And if you look at the rest of hero skill, it's pretty garbage if you think about where we are in the game now. There is Kestrel, actually, so I will say that Kestrel's probably a standout here, but realistically, you're probably still going to want the synergy of the full Spider Society team. Penny should be on. Oh, Penny is up there. Yeah, sorry, my bad. But aside from that, outside of Spider Society, you have Black Knight, Kestrel, and I'm just kind of looking down the screen. I know you can't see me, but it's not good. it's not very good. You could make some argument for Star-Lord Annihilation if you're having to build the other Nowhere characters, but he's standalone here, and the rest of it's kind of garbage. There's some new Avengers, I guess, because you're probably going to have to build them for Green Goblin Classic, or maybe you've already done that at this point. So you have Ronin and Mockingbird, and I could see some sort of weird shield team mix-up if you have them built. So Nick Fury, Ronin, Mockingbird, Kestrel, and someone else, Black Widow, Black Knight, something like that, as a 5-set character. But realistically, that's it. What I just mentioned, that team, and then Spider Society, and that's really it. You're not going to be using these other characters. Actually, there are some Invaders, so my bad. You could use Invaders. Is it Invaders? It must be Invaders in full, because yeah, they're a skill raid team. But Invaders is not something that you should be building into now. Right? For mid-game players, for people who are kind of this will be their first time running a major event, you're not going to want to invest in Invaders. So realistically, these people are going to be using their Spider Society. And that kind of goes back to a video that I did a while back about why raid teams are so important, because more and more, not only are you seeing new characters used in almost every event going forward, but you're also seeing that the raid characters actually pay a lot of dividends, because not only are Spider Society going to be used on this Old Man Logan event, but they're also going to be used for the upcoming Alpha Flight raid, or whatever the showcase raid. So with Alpha Flight and Spider Society, so you're going to use these guys all the time. Skill raid, Alpha Flight raid, Old Man Logan. So if you haven't built up your Spider Society, they're definitely not skippable by any means or stretched by the imagination. So make sure that you work on these guys. I think this is probably going to be the best version in terms of synergy, because I'd rather do that than some hodgepodge of whatever the hell this is, Kestrel with a bunch of other random crap. So that's interesting, right? So make sure you're leveling up these new characters. Let's find out. I guess we won't know until later whether or not Super Scroll's required for this event. And this would be a big slap in the face for a lot of players that aren't there yet, who basically won't have any chance to do that, because despite the no restrictions on this, Cosmic Bio is fairly restrictive. And if you don't level up a certain set of characters, which I actually don't have on my nuke player account, I don't have The only one I have is Void Knight. I don't even have Nova unlocked. So if you don't have Nova unlocked, Cosmo and Korg are useless. So I think you're basically locked into unlocking Nova, which is very player unfriendly. The characters right now, the character requirements to unlock Nova is flat garbage. So maybe there might be some adjustments before the event. Hopefully they might consider this and maybe, I don't know, maybe making some changes. Who knows? That's the end of this video, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day and week. And until next time, stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.